Hey everybody, welcome back to Tim Travels. It's Terry, your host, coming at you from Disputanta, Virginia, right on 460. I'm at the Loves. So before I get to anything else, I had a couple of doubting Thomases when I mentioned that I do push-ups at when I'm fueling my truck. So let's go to the videotape real quick. Yeah, what now? The old man repping out some push-ups. Actually had a great day because it just so happened that I had to get a repower on the load that I picked up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota the other day. And really the reason I had to repower, and this is kind of like, you know, my good friend Lyle always talks about managing your clock. And, you know, stuff that happened days ago can come back to haunt you. Now, I really couldn't do anything about what led to the fact that I was short on hours and couldn't make this delivery, because I started recapping, you know, last night. But the delivery was at 3 in the morning in North Carolina, and I couldn't get all the way there. I was about 4 hours short. Well, lo and behold, or maybe, that's not the right thing to say. But if you go back, if you recall what happened a week ago Monday, that's when it took me 6 hours to get a load out of Hershey, PA, but also Hershey, the company, because the first load wasn't there. It was in Edwardsville. I got run around, you know, got bad information from both the Hershey's people and from dispatch, and by the time it got sorted out, because I got there about 13:15, by the time we actually got on the road it was like 7. But I wasn't just sitting off duty or sleeper berthing it. I was, you know, driving back and forth, and so I burned up a lot of time on my 70-hour clock that would have come in handy. But it all worked out. A dude came and got the trailer off my back, company guy. And, you know, I feel like you sometimes need to pay it forward, because I said to him when he got there, you know, first of all, I appreciate him doing that, because I don't get paid for anything on that load until it gets delivered. So I assume he got it delivered on time. But I said to him, hey, I fueled the trailer when I got here, so it's basically got a full tank. And he's like, oh man, thanks. Usually lease drivers don't do that because, you know, they pay for the fuel or whatever. And I'm like, well, I don't want to give somebody's helping me out. He goes, normally if they know it's a company driver, they just leave it to me to do, because, you know, it's not coming out of my pocket. And I'm like, that's not cool. Because I didn't know if it would be a company driver. But paying it forward, right? Karma, whatever you want to say, today. So then he didn't have an empty, so I had to bobtail all the way from Wytheville, Virginia, which is way to crap out in the Shenandoah, south 7781 intersection. I had to bobtail all the way to Smithfield, Virginia, and to get an empty. But it just so happened that when I pulled in, there was a prime driver in front of me. I pull up to the gate, I'm like, hey, I need an empty. They're like, oh, you can have that one that's that guy has. Just follow him. So I follow him. I pull up beside him. I say, hey, man, I need that trailer. Can you just drop it wherever and I'll get it? And so he sets it down while he's, dropping it. I pet his dog. And then I said, hey, I appreciate it. And he's like, yeah, it's full of fuel and it's clean. And I said, you know what, man? I expected nothing else, because professionals, that's how they roll, right? And so, we fuel the trailers. We don't make it hard on the driver that follows behind us if we can. We don't drop broken stuff without telling somebody. You can drop it, but tell somebody. Anyway, that's my story. A little big pat myself on the back. So anyway, I got to tell you another quick story. People often ask me, they say, Terry, you're a YouTube sensation. And, what's it like being famous? What's it like when people, recognize you, ask for an autograph? And by the way, I'm also an influencer. And the reason I know that is because at least one person has said to me, hey, I applied at Prime because of you and your channel. So that means I influenced somebody. So I'm an influencer. But anyway, I got to tell you this story. So I walked into a smoky room. It smelled like wine and cheap perfume. And I saw these two women across the way, and they both, when I walked in, they both turned and looked at me and kind of like pointed a little bit. And I was like, I get that all the time, right? And then as I'm walking by them, because I didn't really strike up a conversation, I didn't have that kind of time. But as I'm walking by, the one gal says, he doesn't look a thing like Jesus. And the other woman says, yeah, but he speaks like a gentleman. So, I got that going for me. And by the way, if you catch the references, the Killers are on tour. They're actually playing in Bogota, Colombia tonight, esta noche. Bogota is a big city, high altitude, big city. Hey, thanks for that, buddy. I wish you just stayed there. Got about 7.3 million people. So bigger than every city in America other than New York. I was mentioning to somebody, a lot of times people in the United States don't realize how populated other parts of the world are. Like there's a whole laundry list of cities that have more people than New York City. Mexico City, for example, is one of them. And there's a whole laundry list of cities that are bigger. I haven't been there in a long time, but Karachi, Pakistan, they don't really, because a lot of countries don't even do a census. But estimates are like in the Karachi metro area, there's like 20 million plus people. And I can tell you, the last time I was there was a long time ago in 1985. And Karachi was a teeming mass of humanity then. I can't even imagine what it's like. These population centers matter, especially when they come under pressure from climate change. So just share that with you. Think of Superstorm Sandy in a place where they don't have the resources we have, but in a city that's, like 1.5 times the size of the New York City metro area. Okay, so quick subject at hand. I wanted to talk a little bit because I get people ask me all the time, could I train them if they come to Prime, etc. And I always want to be straightforward about stuff. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm not going to put anybody on the truck other than Beatrice. Beatrice, stay tuned, but Beatrice is going to be coming back on the truck probably after I go home for Thanksgiving. But I'm not going to put anybody on the truck for training until after the first of the year. And the reason is that I have so many things that I need to be home for. And I've trained people from all over the country. So just to give you an idea, I've trained people from Nevada, Missouri, Minnesota, North Carolina, Kentucky. So I've never trained anybody that lived real close to me, to where I live. So given that I need to go home for so many different things, like my daughter's in 2 plays, plus she has a choral performance. I need to go home for some medical stuff. Like my physical, my DOT physical is up, and I need to do some other stuff. Obviously Thanksgiving, holiday, Christmas, so I just was like, it'll be easier, because I don't want to say, oh, well, if you're not from 50 miles from my house, I don't want you on the truck, because I don't think that's very nice. So I'm just going to hold off until after the first of the year. So hopefully that'll answer those questions. So I'm just rolling solo until then, and then after at some point after the first of the year, I'll put B back at home, and then I can have a trainee. Another announcement, kind of, in February, I'm going to be riding a 102-mile bike ride in Palm Springs / Coachella Valley, California. And I know there's some people that watch the channel that also cycle. I think it would be awesome if, and this is I'll get the information for this. I'll put it in the comments. But it's basically like the Palm Springs, and there's several different mileages. I'm just picking the longest one because, go big or go home, right? But I think it'd be a blast if we could get other Prime drivers out there with their bicycles, or anybody that wants to just join it. We could just ride as a group, pace line it, whatever you want to say. And I would actually love to get Prime to kind of semi-sponsor a team for like RAGBRAI or whatever, but we'll worry about that in the future. But anyway, it's in mid-February. I want to say around February 11th. Palm Springs, not too shabby a place to be in mid-February. My plan is to get a load out there, drop my empty at Fontana, and then there's actually a Flying J out there, although I think Bobtail I could probably park. There's probably a lot of places I could find to park out there. And I'm gonna have my bike, go do the ride. I might stay in a hotel after the ride for a night, but if anybody's interested, check out the link and get registered, and we can communicate and make it a fun event. So anyway, one other piece of history. I went through Sussex County, Virginia today, and I noticed, because I always try to glance at those historical markers, I noticed that the first peanut farm in the United States was just down the road from here in Sussex County. So I know a lot of people remember President Carter was a peanut farmer down in Georgia, but they grow a lot of peanuts in Virginia. In fact, I went through Wakefield today, and I could smell the peanuts at I don't know what you call it, the peanut warehouse. So it was kind of cool. So I smelled bacon in Smithfield, then in Wakefield I smelled the peanuts. But yeah, and if you don't know much about peanuts, they're used in a lot of things besides, just snack mix and stuff. Obviously peanut butter, but yeah, they're a great food source, great protein. You can get oils out of them, obviously peanut oil. So anyway, just a little tidbit, a little trivia from the local area here. So tomorrow, actually probably around midnight, I'm heading up towards Ohio, drop this load off, and then see what else they got for me before I get home on the 18th. But anyway, I'm still gonna do a video. I had some ideas, and people have asked me to do a video on a couple of different subjects that are kind of related. So look for that probably tomorrow, but maybe the next day, depending on how I get reloaded when I get up to the Columbus area. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Be safe, especially if you're in a super windy or winter weather area, or even, you know, Florida's getting ready to get another hurricane. And while it's probably only going to be a Category 1, it is an extraordinarily wide storm. And hurricanes like that might not have enormous storm surges, but a lot of times those are the hurricanes, the lower level ones, are the ones that, because they're not fast moving and they just kind of linger and just dump, you know, billions of gallons of water, and they just keep picking water up from the ocean and dumping it over the land. So if you're, you know, if you live down there, or you run the Southeast, or you think you're taking a load to Florida and it's delivering in the next few days, keep an eye on the weather. It'll be warm, but you might it might be up to your axles. So anyway, talk to you soon. Bye.